Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak. I'm joined by my two very close friends, Ray Clifford and Ralph Schrager, and we are about 15, 20 minutes removed from the Jets that had just an incredible loss, 26-21. And if you could believe it, they were ahead 21-7 at one point. The offense fell asleep in the second half. I'll get a comment in a minute from you guys, but I thought there were three plays that really summed up this game. I thought it was the back-to-back Aaron Rodgers. First, he missed Wilson, Garrett Wilson, all alone in the end zone. He probably, 20 years ago, probably hit him with his eyes closed. And the play after that, Leonard Williams, the former number one draft pick of the Jets, he intercepts a pass, and I guess he goes like 92 yards for a touchdown. Leonard Williams had an incredible game. He had one penalty, roughing the passer. But besides that, he was just unbelievable. And the third play, I would say, they had a 4th and 6. And being that our coach doesn't know how to coach, our head coach, Jeff Ulbrich, we didn't know whether they were going to put their kicking team out or their offense because we were set up and we had Xavier Gibson in the punt return while the rest of the team was set up for a play. Of course, there's a 5-yard penalty, and they end up getting a first down. And I just wanted to just read. I don't know if I sent it to you guys. Rich Cimini sent me a tweet that kind of sums up the
Sent
Jets.
it to you personally?
Of
Yeah,
course, the the Jets have allowed 5 first downs by penalty on 4th down this season, the most in the NFL this season, and tied for the most by any NFL team this century. They've allowed two today. The other three came against the Texans early in the year. Ralph, let me have your comments off the bat because I don't know how long I could do this show, guys, to be honest with you. I'm so
Well,
go ahead, Ralph.
the the good news, I'm gonna start with some positive news. My local analytics guy, Matt Lewis, just told me that he figured out what the Jets' magic number is to make the playoffs now. It's 911. So
we're still in it.
there's still hope, yeah. Um, those two back-to-back plays that Rodgers bungled, both of them. That was 14 points right there. The Jets would have been up 28-7. They probably would have won the game. The minute Williams picked that off, I mean, we all knew they were going to blow this game because the Jets, if there's one thing that they have a genius for, it is giving away games. Seattle tried to match us, but we're too good for them in that regard.
We made them look like amateurs.
I know it wasn't even a contest. It was embarrassing, frankly. I mean, I don't know where to start, Marty. I mean, I have to say this for you. I don't know about you guys, but I've been following this team for 60 years, and they've had some horrible teams. This is by far the most frustrating, irritating, ridiculous, embarrassing, stupid team I have ever seen in my life. It just wins the contest.
It's because of everyone's expectations. Everyone was talking about 10, 11, 12 victories. Woody Johnson was saying this most talented team he's seen since he owned the team.
Yeah, but even with that, Marty, and it's true that's a lot that has a lot to do with it. They have found ways to, we could be here all night coming up with the most ridiculous plays this team makes. I mean, when they've got a team 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 20, I go to get something to eat because I know the team's going to get a first down sooner or later. I mean, it's one way or another. If they don't
Right,
make the play, here comes the flags.
right. All right, Ray, give me your comments before we dive into this. I got a couple of questions after that. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, kind of like Ralph, I haven't been watching as long as you guys, but pretty close within a about 8, 10 years. But one thing that's never changed: the Jets get out to an early lead. Actually, you should start to worry right then. When they were up 14-0, and then it was 14-7, I said, "Oh no!" And then we ran the kickback. All right, but as soon as Rodgers did what he did, I was like, this is shaping up like the traditional Jet early, look great, meltdown at the end. And it seems like if we don't just plain blow it and leave a guy wide open for a big play or whatever, then we make a play and out comes a flag. And you knew the second you saw that yellow flag light, we'd done something wrong. It was incredible. I do think a couple of those calls were kind of iffy, but it doesn't change anything. You got to make plays. You got to make stops. You can't overthrow a guy in the end zone who's wide open. All you have to do is lob it to him, and then throw a pick six to a defensive lineman. Who, when I saw that the only guys with the ability to tackle were going to be two other linemen, I knew he's gone.
I know, what happened to the Ben Watsons on our team who can run around everyone? And I was waiting for Garrett Wilson or Adams, to come around. Where the hell were they? They must have given up on the play.
They run the other team. The receiver, remember he came a few years ago, DJ Metcalf, and he
Yeah, yes.
We don't have guys that have pride like that.
No, not at all.
So just the difficult. It was one of those where you already know the ending, but you're watching it to see how it's going to play out.
I know exactly.
That's all it was. It was like every time if we did stop them, we didn't do anything with the ball, gave it back to them, and like, okay. And they'd end up with a field goal or something. Well, now they're only within 3. They only need a field goal. And then that last drive, it was like, oh, it's clear. They're getting a touchdown because every chance we had to stop them, we found a way to get a penalty.
I feel like they have a meeting like on Thursday night. Okay, which guys are going to take the penalties that screw us this week? Sauce, is it your turn? Oh, Stiggers. We got Stiggers. He's going to play this week. Go on, be my guest.
Has anybody this whole season? Has anybody said, "Hey, Will, here's the line, and you need to be behind it. You can't be on this side of it." Because he did that early in the year. I thought they had that cleared up, but didn't he do it twice today?
He did it twice earlier in the year. I think he did it once today.
I just want to point out a couple of things. As bad as they played, as sloppy as they played, they went through a period where the tackling was awful. Who's number 44? I mean, my mind.
Sherwood
missed a tackle on that touchdown run. But I just want to give credit to the Williams brothers. The first play of the game, Queenan got in the backfield and he missed the guy with the ball, the running back. But I thought he played a solid game, but I thought Quincy was unbelievable, which was good. I was happy. I thought Olo Fashanu at left tackle did well, which I'm happy about because
that's like his second start at left tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, very good. He'll be fine.
He'll be good. And the reason, Ray, I don't know, you might have been working, but over the holiday in the Raiders loss, Brock Bowers went crazy. That guy is a stud. But there were a lot of Jets on the internet that were second guess bypassing Bowers and taking Fashanu. But I'm glad that happened. I think we're both happy. And Ralph,
we know Brett Bowers would not be doing that on the Jets anyway.
No.
Well, and who would be blocking if it wasn't for Fashanu? Because he was about the only one who held his own.
It was really refreshing. I mean, I know the bar is low, but I mean, Tyrone Smith, they should have benched him the second game of the year. Just another stupid thing that the Jets, they just don't make a move. They wait too long.
Ralph, I got off to a late start. I didn't get to sit down till literally kickoff, so I never saw the active and inactive list. I want to ask you, was Max Mitchell inactive?
I don't know.
Because for the life of me, I can't understand why they would activate him. I'm sorry, Carter Warren and not Max Mitchell. Carter Warren had to go in early for Morgan Moses.
Yeah.
Except for a few decent blocks, he was awful today. He was just terrible. And another thing I just want to mention, get off my chest. I know it's not a high priority, but after we spent the holiday watching a lot of football on Thursday and a lot of college football, our receivers coach, Sean Jefferson, I would just get rid of him because we've been talking about it all year. Our receivers, they get no space at all.
I know, it's amazing. They have to make these circus catches.
As bad as Rodgers passed, his good completions were in such a small window. Why aren't our receivers getting open? He's got to throw like an alley-oop to Malachi Corley. I just don't get it. I watched all these
I don't know.
games.
We've
I
been talking
watched
about this week after
Thursday.
week, Marty. I don't get it either. I think it happened last year too. I don't know. I mean, it's either the scheme or the whoever the passing coach is. I know it was Todd Downing. I don't know if he still has that. Sure, maybe Jefferson. I think it's just the systemic thing. I just think this whole coaching staff is incompetent.
Oh,
And
they're all awful. They're pathetic. They really are. It's just incredible. They mentioned a stat in the first quarter and that the Jets, and I didn't hear the end of it, that they have 46 three and outs this year. I don't know where that stands in the
That
league.
sounds a little low to me.
Oh, does it? For the Jets? Okay. All right.
The way
well, I
that they're
think their
going,
computers
like,
stopped counting at a certain point. They
yeah, I
couldn't
know,
go.
right? Okay.
Yeah. But it's funny. This game was so winnable, it was ridiculous. They had a nice goal line stance. Quincy Williams got Gino on a fourth down. They really played good on those plays.
Yeah, well, and I've been saying for 3 weeks, why aren't they blitzing Quincy Williams more? That guy's like a torpedo. I think he could lead the league in sacks if they treated him like an edge rusher. He's amazing.
Right, right. And of course, we had a point, PAT blocked by Leonard Williams. The guy was all over the place. Um, Ralph's favorite, Isaiah Davis, had a touchdown on a shuffle pass. And Ralph, he actually looked like he had a little bit of giddy up, more than
He
he had
looked
in
okay.
the air.
Nothing special.
No, no,
Just another running
he
back.
looked better. And Ralph made a comment, Ray, and I think he's right. I mean, for some reason, I don't know if it's the coaching or what, though, Ray, Brees Hall, he's got the fumbles this year. You know that?
He actually had one earlier that they said wasn't a fumble, which was totally a fumble. But they said he was down. It wasn't even close. Yeah, he's been fumbling a lot this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Ray. What were you going to say about Brees?
Yeah, he's definitely had a few this year. Yeah, he is running better than he was early in the year, but he's not near what he was like last year or before. But I think that a lot of this still comes down to scheming and execution, and I think we're lacking in both badly.
Right. Yeah. I want to give credit. We mentioned Leonard Williams, but a player that, and I guess the Giants had drafted him, this Julian Love,
Hmm.
that guy was making clutch tackles all over the place today. He ended up with six tackles. I think the Giants had him. Ray, I think he's out of Notre Dame, if I remember right. I don't
That
know.
sounds right.
Yeah, he looks like he should have been in the Legion of Boom with Thomas and Cameron, whatever his name was, for Seattle years ago. Remember those two safeties they had when they won the Super Bowl? He
I
looked
think
like
Jeff Ulbrich was the assistant linebackers coach.
yeah, I know. A
Yeah.
lot less gray hair then. He's gonna have a lot more before this season's out.
Yeah, yeah, he'll get something. Let's just quickly first quarter. I'm not even going to review who scored. It was 14
Yeah.
nothing Jets. Second quarter, they scored 16. We scored 7. Now we had who was the player that returned the kickoff for a
I
touchdown?
don't even can't even pronounce his name. When did
I
they
couldn't
pick him
pronounce it. I
up?
saw the name on the uniform. I'm like, somebody pronounce that for me because I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
butcher
mean,
that.
this guy made the two best plays of the game. Apparently, he's returned like 4 kicks for touchdowns. Why is he floating around and getting
I don't
picked
know.
up off
It,
waivers?
it's Keeney, Kene, Nuwagnu, and I
Go
get
ahead, you're
I
pronouncing
get
it.
yeah, he's from Iowa State. He's been around since 2021.
So he's a teammate of probably Will McDonald's and Alan Lazard's and
Brees.
Brees Hall's. Yeah, um, he could get special teams player of the week. He got a fumble that went
Yep.
the touchdown. Yeah.
Um, at halftime, we were ahead 21-16. I want to ask both of you guys. I'll start with Ralph, because maybe you could review to me. I guess there were 36 seconds to go.
48, 48,
48.
Marty.
And the
Yeah.
Jets had at least two. Maybe they had all of the
Two
They had
timeouts.
all three.
right, Ralph.
I
Just
thought we had two. Okay.
No,
okay. So
they
Ralph,
had well, and so that Seattle has the ball in the 20 with the 3rd and 4. At that up to that point, you're not going to use your timeouts, but you get them at 3rd and 4. They're really deep. They're not going and it's 48 seconds left. Okay, take your timeout. Give your defense a chance to stop them. They're not going to go for anything deep or anything. They'll probably just get the first down. There's very little chance of the scoring. And at 3-8, why not play aggressively, play
Yeah.
positively? He just
Yeah.
sits there and lets the clock run down. Sure enough, they stop them. They get the ball back with 8 seconds left. They could have had 40 seconds left at about the 30-yard line. It's these little things that this coaching staff is just clueless. They just don't understand.
Ralph, I'm sure a lot in the decision make had to do with the fact that he's saying, "Oh, we're going to get the ball the second half." You can't figure like that, though, too. You got to figure like Belichick used to figure. The game is 60 minutes long. He used to break it down into plays, never let one play go to waste. And you got to be aggressive with that. It was, to me, it was unbelievable. Ray, you were at the bar. What were your feelings that was going to happen at the end of the first half?
Well, I would have liked to take a timeout. I was surprised they didn't. But you know, one of the things we're ahead, yes, but Seattle was the Keystone Cops of the first half. I mean, whoever their returner is was just like dropping the ball everywhere. Um, we should have gone in regardless up 21-7, but Aaron
28-7, we should have
missed,
gone him.
missed Wilson and then found
He didn't miss him. It was like 5 yards away. A Pee-wee player could have hit that pass. It was ridiculous.
then he found Leonard Williams on the next play. So
Well, okay, so he made up for it.
Right.
yeah, he threw a touchdown pass either way. But I think, you know, yes, we should have used the timeouts. You got to play the game in terms of don't look at it what the score is now, what the situation, what might have. You got to look at you're 2-8. You have nothing really to lose. Anybody who thinks we could run the table and make the playoffs is nuts. So, be aggressive and go for it. Do everything you can to try and give yourselves a chance to get more points. And all we needed really was another couple, well, as it turns out, a couple field goals, but we had so many chances to end drives and get scores. Every little thing can matter. If we'd have taken the timeout and made that stop, who knows? Maybe we get down the field and get a field goal out of it. Could have been the one thing that might have changed the outcome of this game. But if you don't try, this is what you end up with.
It's ironic because they're so good at burning timeouts when they shouldn't. And here they had 3 timeouts. They walk into the locker room with those 3 timeouts in their pocket.
Yeah.
Well, Ralph, give our quarterback credit. He took the delay game instead of calling a timeout.
Yeah, finally. It would be nice of them not to have to do that either.
Right. And I want to mention again, I wanted Robert Saleh fired after last season. I wanted Zach Wilson let go after the season before. And I wasn't unhappy that he was fired during the season, but in retrospect, it was a horrible move. You should have just let it play out because there has been such a falling off the cliff since Robert Saleh left. I've never seen anything like it. The lack of discipline from the coaching staff, the penalties the Jets are making just to let drives continue. The missed tackling, though it wasn't awful today, just the little things that good coaching brings to a team. It's just so obvious.
Well, Marty,
Yeah.
the Jets were doing this stuff with Salah. They're doing it more with Ulbrich. It's worse now, but It was bad with Salah. That's why
Right.
we wanted to get rid of him. If you said to me if they kept Salah, we'd be in the mix for the playoffs. I would say, but I don't think that would have been the case. I just think he would have won a couple more games and given us a
Now,
worse draft pick.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have made the playoffs, but things wouldn't have looked this bad. I just don't think they would have.
No, probably not.
if anything, just because Auburn can't wear two hats, our defense would have been better. There's been such a drop off in our defensive play.
Yeah, and did you hear that announcer two different times? It was the Jets' potent defensive line. I'm thinking, where is this? What planet has this guy been living on?
You gotta be kidding.
As Walt Frazier would say, it's the Swiss cheese defense. That's
Yeah.
basically.
Was Reddick active today?
Yeah, he
I
actually
didn't-
almost got a sack. That was how
He
good he
did.
was.
I never heard it. I never even saw him.
Yeah, he
Marty,
almost got a sack and he made a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Other than that, he was totally invisible and he was out there quite a bit.
Ray, you're pretty good with the penalties. I want to ask you about two. I just want to mention, I was going through the score. Let me go quickly. Third quarter, no score. Fourth quarter, they scored 10. We scored nothing. Final score 26-21. They shut us out in the second half.
Yeah, they shut us out. I can't believe it didn't even occur to me that they never scored again after that
after the
kickoff.
kickoff
Yeah.
return.
Ray, I want to ask you about two plays. You're pretty good with the refereeing. I want to ask you about Solomon Thomas with the horse collar. Then I want to ask you about Devontae Adams, the offensive pass interference. Take it any way you want.
Well, Solomon Thomas, even though I was like a little irritated by it, I'm sure the rule doesn't differentiate between a tackle and you just throwing the guy down. He didn't actually bring him down with a horse collar, but he did have the back of the jersey, the back of the shoulder pads. So I'm sure, they'll tell you that it's a horse collar. Doesn't matter if the tackle was made or not. They call it a horse collar tackle, but apparently the penalty doesn't include you have to tackle him. So that was probably the correct call, even though it was irritating as hell. The one that bothered me the most was the one on Adams. Um, yeah, if you're at, and again, I can't fault the refs because everything's going fast and the angle they have, to look at something might give it a different impression. But the last replay they showed of that Adams supposed push off was he had his hand on the guy's back, but the guy was already falling. So he really wasn't shoving him at all. He didn't have to. He just left his arm on his back as he went by. But to the refs, it probably looked like a shove, and they gave him a flag. But to me, that one it was irritating because he really had nothing to do with that guy falling down. The guy was going down anyway. It was not a push off. He would have caught that. He should have gotten that catch. That should have counted. But what it looks like to the refs is all that matters. How they see it. And if you look at his arm, his arm's on him and it's kind of going forward too. So it looks like he's pushing. But if you watch that, if you ever get a chance to see that view from behind the ref, from the backside, you'll see the guy's already fallen. His arm's on his back and he's just kind of following him down. That's the one that bothered me. Oh, real
Right.
quick before you go on to the other thing, Marty, one other thing you didn't mention that you had said before about last year was you liked Dan Quinn as a coach. I think maybe that would have been a really good move if they're just going to snag him before the season.
That's the guy I wanted. I mean,
Yeah,
it's too bad. Now, they hired Mike Tannenbaum and they hired the former general manager who I really like with
Rick
Spielman,
Spielman. Rick
Rick
Spielman.
Spielman, who I think is very good. And they hired
yeah.
the general manager with Washington, and I think he's doing a good job. I think that organization is on the right track. And hopefully they'll get someone where, I didn't want to get into that tonight, but the Jets, there's going to be a lot of coaching vacancies, and they're going to be the least attractive. I just want to ask Ralph. I had asked Ray, Ralph, your opinion, and this has nothing to do with the Jets. What do you think is the most attractive head coaching job? Giants, Cowboys, or Bears?
Oh, for right now?
Well, for
Um,
next year,
um, definitely not the Giants. Uh, I, I would say the Bears because it looks like Caleb Williams is beginning to come
yeah.
around.
I spoke to Ray, and we thought the same thing. So
I want to
go ahead.
put my 2 cents in on those penalties. I thought they were both good calls. I thought he pushed him from his stomach, actually, not his back. But
Like,
I saw two different angles, and It reminded me of that Drew Pearson play years ago when Minnesota Dallas when the official got hit in the head with a bottle because he didn't call it. I
Oh,
think the Jets got away with one too when Quincy Williams ran into DJ Metcalf on that play. I
yeah,
kind of thought that was a penalty.
it
So,
was.
you get a little, you give a little, but
Yeah,
there weren't any that were ridiculous today. The one Chuck Clark in the end zone, he basically said, I got nothing else I can do. So I just held the guy's arms. Um,
Right.
I don't think Sauce got a penalty today, or did he?
I don't think he
no,
did. He wasn't awful. He made a couple of bad plays,
Yeah.
but he wasn't awful.
But remember, he was drafted the same year as Tariq Woolen, who was I think a fifth round pick,
Yeah.
fourth round pick. He got six picks. Those two guys were going head to head for defensive rookie of the year, and they gave it to Sauce. And we can see who's the better players turned out to be.
Yeah. And Woolen, I think he's like 6'4", if I remember right.
Yeah, and he's fast.
Very tall. Talking about players, Ray, I want to mention, and I'm sorry about the Buckeyes yesterday losing to Michigan, and I know there was a lot of controversy.
stunning, but whatever.
I missed that. What happened to that?
But anyway, Ray,
The excitement was after the game, but hey,
yeah, Ralph's being sarcastic.
Well, that I had a feeling they might lose. Classic letdown, Ray.
oh,
They were sitting on Indiana and wanted to kick their butt, and I think they thought, okay, the season is over. We have no problem. Michigan stinks, and that's
I think
football. Emotion is so important.
But Ray, I wanted to mention, I get more and more impressed when I see Jackson Smith Nigba. I think he's a heck of a ball player. He
oh
went
yeah,
from Ohio State. I really like that guy too. I
Don't talk too loud because all these Jet fans kept screaming, we should have taken him instead of Will McDonald.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. All right, just
I
a
did like him, but he was injured a lot of his last year, so
Yeah.
didn't play a lot. He would have been a no doubter even earlier than he went had he been healthy and been able to, you know, play the whole year. That last year he was there because he was just tearing it up. But he first game, I think it was Notre Dame. He kind of, I don't know if it was groin, he tweaked or groin or hamstring badly, and he hardly played the rest of the year. So
right.
I was hoping he dropped in the second round, and I really thought maybe we could snap him up then. But no, Seattle did a smart thing.
They did. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers, 21 for 39, 185 yards, TDs, one interception, a pick six, rushing.
Yeah, Marty, just to talk about
Right.
Aaron Rodgers. This guy, he throws behind every other pass. He throws low, he throws wide. I mean, he's just so inaccurate now. It's just really pathetic.
Yeah, not even close to what he was.
You know, it's unbelievable, Ralph. I remember when he was coming out, we drafted him, and we spoke that Zach Wilson, one of his best attributes is his accuracy.
Hey,
Well,
I saw him as a freshman go 18 for 18 in a game, and they
oh,
were tough passes.
yeah. And now you look at it, every quarterback we have, they put on the
Oh,
team.
God.
Their accuracy goes to hell. It's
Marty, I got to tell you, the last night I came up with an epiphany. I decided I don't want Woody Johnson to sell the team. I want him to move the team, and I want to put a new franchise here, an expansion team. We'll start from scratch.
I,
All these guys on the team, they're fouled by this Jets whole culture. I think if they move to other teams, it'd all probably be a lot better. But
oh, of course, of
yeah,
course. Look at Leonard Williams. Look at these guys in other teams. Yeah. So anyway, Rodgers 21, 39, 185. Brees Hall 12 rushes, 60 yards. Couldn't hold on to the ball. Braylon Allen, I thought he was good as a receiver. I don't know the second half. He didn't look like he played too much. Five
no,
rushes, 11 yards. Malachi Corley, one rush for 8 yards. Rodgers, 2 for 6. Isaiah Davis, 1 for 4. He actually looked pretty good. Isaiah Davis might have made the play of the game when there was like third down and 26, and he ate up like 24 of those yards. You remember that?
yeah.
They got a first down, so give him credit. Devontae Adams, 5 receptions, 66. Garrett Wilson, 5 for 41. Adams, by the way, had that touchdown. Tyler Conklin, 4 for 32. Isaiah Davis, 3 for 28, and he had a touchdown. It was like a shuffle pass. Braylon Allen, 2 for 16. Ruckert, 1 for 3. And on defense, Quincy Williams, that guy comes to play. 7 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. DJ Reed, 7 tackles, 4 solo. Jamie and Sherwood, he wasn't good today. He made a couple of plays, but he missed a couple of tackles. 4 tackles. Isaiah Oliver, he had a horrible penalty, 3 tackles. I don't know what's going on with Michael Carter.
Yeah,
Three,
he's been that bad, really
bad,
bad.
bad. Three tackles. Sauce Gardner, 3 tackles. Ashton Davis, 3 tackles.
A couple of nice plays by
He
Ashton
made a nice
Davis.
play
Yeah.
in the first half. Yeah. Michael Clemens, he got pushed back, Ralph. I texted you.
He made a couple of plays,
He
but yeah,
did.
he gets moved around.
Oh my God.
He just
If you,
I know they're picking on him. They
yeah.
watch film.
Oh my God. He did make some plays. And the last game we played, it was his best game. Tony Adams was in there.
Yeah, I saw a little bubble wrap sighting, huh?
Yeah. Will McDonald. By the way, I'm not in love with Woody Johnson, but I happen to think the rumor is that he told the coach he wants Tony Adams benched. That was the best thing Woody Johnson ever did. I like that move. Okay, Will McDonald, two sacks.
Well, I kind of like them wanting Rogers bench too, but unfortunately they talked
Right.
him out of that one.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick, 2 tackles, Clark, 2 tackles, and then nothing else. I'm looking down the list. Nothing else really happened. Stiggers had 1 tackle. His tackle was interesting because he kept Metcalf from getting
Metcalf, yeah.
first down.
Well, that's something that you could see in his Canadian film. He's a really good tackler. Unlike Sauce Gardner, he understands you tackle big guys low.
Right. Ralph, your guy, he made a bad play. I don't want to. Leonard Taylor, he didn't have
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
he made a bad play. And Xavier Gibson, I mean, he's disappearing.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a couple of plays where I think he was in the wrong place. He was like right next to Garrett Wilson getting in the way. Uh, and in actually one of his plays, kickoffs or an end around, I felt like if he had cut the other way, he would have been
Yes.
gone.
Yes.
And it just showed poor instinct. It's really
Yes. Yeah. I think what you're right. Like he went to the outside. Looked like if he cut.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, like a Brees Hall sort of thing. He would have done better. Yeah. So I think with that, we might wrap it up. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the Fish of Miami, which is a must-win for the Jets next Sunday?
Well, according to Aaron Rodgers, it is. Aaron Rodgers, I'm waiting on Tuesday to come out with his path to the playoffs.
Is that for 25 or 26?
Is this a home game next week or a road game?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's home or away.
I think it's a road game, but I'm not positive on that.
Normally, there's a lot of Jet fans when they play down in Miami, but it's not going to be.
A lot of New Yorkers down there, but no, I'm already in planning for next year mode. Like, who are we going to draft and who are we going to have as a coach type of stuff. I mean, I hope we're competitive, but kind of like today, as disappointing as today was, the best thing that happened was we lost because we don't need to be dropping in the draft order, to win meaningless games. I'm never going to cheer for him to lose, like we say all the time. But at the end, after the game's over, I'm like, yeah, okay, we needed to lose. So
Definitely.
Ralph, anything you want to say before we close?
Well, all I can say is I hope for the rest of the home games the weather is good, so these fans at least enjoy their tailgating, because the idea that these people paid for seat licenses and season tickets for this garbage, I just feel badly for them. It's just terrible.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we're going to be moving on now. Like I said, it's going to be hard to cover the last 5 games, but we'll be there. And I just
Speak for yourself.
I just want to mention that my Sun Devils won, and they will be playing
time
for the league championship against Iowa State. So
is that an automatic?
if they get in the playoffs if they win, and they have a chance to win, as long as the game doesn't come down to kicking, because they don't have a kicker on Arizona.
Where is it going to be played?
It's going to be played actually in Dallas in the Cowboy Stadium.
Okay, so they might have decent weather, because I have a feeling they're not a good cold weather team, Arizona State.
Yeah, but they have a good quarterback. He's a freshman, Sam Levitt, who will be drafted in a few years. There's going to be a suck for Sam when he's up there. They have a good running back and a very good receiver.
Hey, speaking of crazy games, I was listening watching the Georgia Tech game,
Oh
and
yeah.
when Georgia Tech went up 27-13, the place cleared out, and I said to myself, "Oh, they're going to come back now. I know these fans are going to be listening on their car radios, freaking out."
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was over then. And I did a parlay, which I took Georgia, but that was dumb because they were giving up 17 and a half. So that didn't really pan out either
Right.
way.
Right.
They got to change that overtime rule. It's really ridiculous.
Oh
And
yeah. It's too much.
all these teams are dropping like flies. It's fascinating. Only Oregon is left undefeated. And I think they're not, if they go in undefeated, they're going to lose. They're going to get knocked off. I'm not rooting for it, but I think they will.
I don't want to look ahead, Ralph, but if ASU wins, I think they're seeded 16 in the 12 in the playoffs. I'm sorry.
Just
Right. So they
they're
would
out.
play the number 5 seed, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we'll have to see. Well, one game at a time. That's what we're gonna
yeah,
do.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We're looking forward to next week. We're all going to be excited as we're going to meet Tua down or wherever we're going to play them, and they have some great receivers, and they're fighting for their playoff life too, as they lost over the holiday weekend. So for Ray Clifford, Ralph Schrager, Marty Schupak, and Jets Rewind. Until next time.